thing I wanted to talk about was management v leadership, and the image up the top helps to kind of show some of the main differences. Management concerned with having people complete tasks and direct them, whereas leadership more so concerned with having people follow them towards their final unfolding vision of what they want to see happen. So maybe there's different points and a different attitude that a leader would have where they are more so inspirational and they have different attitudes, and maybe they're more concerned with the team working together towards creating this vision, whereas like a manager is more concerned with uh, allocating tasks, completing budgetary objectives, and it's like a hierarchical and fragmented process, isn't it? Like they have to allocate tasks to the little groups and make sure everyone is completing the correct task and more concerned with standards. Whereas a leader, like I said, has a final vision. They're moving towards change and the different ideas about how things should be that they have in their mind. But of course, it is essential to have two in an organization, perhaps not even essential that they have two to the same degrees. So what I described is a bit extreme. I said it's diametrically opposed. It's polar opposite. A leader is someone who has followers, and management is someone who's just telling people what to do. That's the two extremes. But of course, there's a mix of these traits, of these extremes in real life. Management may have some leadership qualities, and a leader may have some management qualities as well, or performing each other's sort of duties. And it's not so extreme. But what is important is that we are concerned with team effectiveness, and it's not just crucial for leaders who aim to unify individuals towards a certain goal, but also managers who are more concerned with controlling groups. So team effectiveness is all about the relationship between team cohesion and performance. And it's important that for performance to be high and for well-being and staff retention rates to be high, that the team is cohesive and bonding well. So team effectiveness, of course, is a part of that process. And it's also important why we have leaders, to have that sense of cohesion and that sense of perspective that we need in the work environment, as opposed to just being a sort of an object completing the necessary tasks. There is like a necessity for leadership to have like a sense of purpose and the correct perspective about what we are doing and why we're doing it, to motivate oneself and to have the correct like self-belief models, as opposed to just being this working sort of just this thing that is working to complete the tasks. Productive capacity depends on the degree of cohesiveness. Productive capacity of the group depends on its degree of cohesiveness, and cohesiveness demands effective leadership. So leadership is essential for a cohesive team. A team could also be not cohesive with just completing the duties again, but then that's not a very fun environment at all to be in. So the primitive underlying structure, why it is essential, could be recognized as paternalistic leadership. So we see that in developing countries. It is not just a case of moving towards this final vision, but it's the sense of feeling like we are cared for, that we are part of the group, that we are part of maybe like a little family, and our work should maybe be that way. It is that idea that people have each other's backs and you feel comfortable and part of the group. And there's a process towards that cohesive team cohesion, which I'll talk about later, Tuckman's model. And so if there is not a leader, if it's simply just the manager directing the tasks and it's quite a soulless experience, then perhaps things would be missing that a leader would provide, such as, am I taking care of this person? How can I make them feel part of the group? A leader would maybe ask those questions. And yeah, so that would also consider agency and stewardship, um, and the model and environment would differ, so maybe it is a a working environment that is heavily skewed towards agency, where it's only fueled by self-interest, and it is maybe a kind of cold environment, and there are working environments like that where stewardship is more concerned with helping behavior, be caring for one another, and um, less concerned with self-interest. So an effective leader communicates in a way that leaves dignity and self-esteem intact. So they are concerned with understanding the person, with making sure they feel appreciated, welcome, and cared for. And they're both management and leadership are important to organization. Leaders manage and managers lead, but the two are not synonymous. So they're two different things. Leaders manage, they can do the same things. Managers can lead, but they are still two different extremes, and there are huge differences. I said there will be a varied level of traits within the individual, which may be skewed more towards management or leadership style. Perhaps that's just how we're wired. Some people are um, more the leadership type, and some people are more management type, concerned with the details, concerned with being really conscientious, hardworking and concerned with the details, whereas other people are wired more towards, leading people, encouraging people, making them feel good and everything else. But we're saying that both those things are important in an organization, and a mix of those, of course, to varying degrees exists, but we need certain things in a company for it to be successful, and for people to feel valued. It could be successful without people feeling valued, and maybe that would affect staff retention rates and all that. But without the structure and function of management principles, there would not be a company to lead. Management without leadership is much less likely to be successful than a capable manager who can also provide excellent leadership. So what am I saying here? Management without leadership less likely to be successful. Yeah, so that, like I was saying, it would affect staff retention rates if it is a cold environment where it's simply allocating tasks and ensuring standards are high. Very cold environment, people don't feel appreciated, welcome. They don't feel very professional and all that. And then a capable manager who can also provide excellent leadership. So that would mean, okay, we complete the tasks, we share expectations, we are focused, and everything is well controlled and standards are kept high. But also, are you okay? Are you fitting into the group? Making sure, we understand that you're developing as a professional, and we have this ideal for you to move towards, and we're all part of that. And maybe it's implied, but there should be some sort of formal process to that. And Tuckman's model is the process of a team coming together. So if you go into a new group, initially it will be the forming phase where people are just meeting and seeing each other and being together for the first time. Storming phase, personalities clash. There's maybe some friction. People get used to one another. They begin to know each other. They understand each other, and then they work together as a cohesive team. So that's forming, storming, norming, a performing model, which is a pattern towards team cohesion, suggested by Tuckman. So I think that's quite a nice model. And of course, there's lots of different nuances to that. People trying to convey who they are and not be so being the individual that, of course, everyone is individual and holds value to certain things about themselves and want to feel appreciated. Yeah, so it's a bi-directional nature, cohesion and team performance. A team that's cohesive performs well. A team that performs well becomes more cohesive, and there's effects on self-esteem, morale, and performance. So it is it's an important thing. And the last thing I talked about in this article, social control theory. So you know, this theory focuses on the controlling or restraining factors that are broken or missing inside personalities. So if these factors are thought to involve society in some ways, as with the sociological notion that norms are internalized, then the theory is said to be social control theory, and is most probably a social bond theory. It's saying that people can be controlled or restrained if they belong to groups that have strong ties. In business situation, personal characteristics could be restrained when a group member belongs to a cohesive group. Competent employees in high cohesive groups will be influenced by other members due to strong bonds. Consequently, group cohesiveness could weaken the competency-dependent performance relationship. So, yeah, this idea that we have groups, this sociological norm, we want to be part of a group. There's certain things we need from a group, and we bounce off one another, develop our personalities and our skill set within that group. And yeah, of course, people who are highly competent in highly cohesive groups are going to get along with each other. And competency is a huge factor in these group situations, especially in work, as the stakes are high and we want professionalism.